Look at that, right off the bat. Mike Draco, Derek Webster, and William King. What's up to all three of you gentlemen? Good to see everybody getting in here early tonight, man. We're 5 minutes out from a fantastic show. Tuesday nights here in the Source Media headquarters, and we're getting ready for Coast to Coast. Chris and Mike will have a killer show lined up for you guys. I am Chris from Cycle Source Magazine. I'm going to be your engineer for the next 60 minutes of motorcycle entertainment. Please do your part. Hit the like and share button. Help us get this thing out across the two-wheeled universe so that we get more listeners and they know when we go live just like you do. Thanks for tuning in. Leanne Sims, Jeremy Sather, Jason Holman in Lakeland, Florida. Paul F. Schmidt, Time to Ride. That's right. Flybroad, Cody, Wyoming coming in. Steve Burrells, what's up from Detroit? Hey, that's another thing, man. You know, feel free to throw up your town name where you're listening to us from so we can give you a shout out. But throughout the show, you don't just have to sit back and be an observer. You can participate. Throw your comments up wherever you're watching this. If it's Facebook, YouTube, whatever, throw your comment up where you're watching it. We'll get it and try to get it answered for you throughout the show. Angela Lemieux's in. Kate Sherman. David Crum, president of New Jersey. Jimmy Bradley out in the shop from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Good man. Good man. Shop time is good time. Artie Garland, New Hampshire, in the house. Up in them White Mountains. Beautiful riding this time of year, buddy. William King headed to Sturgis from New Hampshire. Absolutely going to Sturgis. Wouldn't miss it. Norman Spivey, Tallahassee, Alabama. All right, man. Just past the 3-minute mark. We're going live in 3 minutes. Grab a drink, kick back, relax, and get ready to ride coast to coast with Chris Simmons and Mike Lichter. Tanner Bush, Pittsburgh, that's my town. Chris Whitting, Ohio in the house. William King riding his 74 Knucklehead from New Hampshire to Sturgis. God bless you. Rob Nussbaum in with us with a productive day. Blasted all that wrinkle black from a set of 48 pan cases. Man, I'm jealous. I really want the 48 someday. As it sits, I have two 49s and a long story, but that's another story. David Crum, always an incredible show. Hey, man, it's incredible here every time we go live because of guys like you, everyone that supports us, man, and helps us spread the word. We appreciate it. Tessa, Jennifer, hey, good to see you here with us, too. We're down to 1.5 minutes till this one gets started. Hey Rob, thanks for asking about the Twisted Tea build. It's coming along smokingly. 11 days when we managed to get out to powder coat and paint. That bike is kicking ass. We just settled on a paint scheme, and I'll just mention a couple words for you here. Front axle dragsters and gassers. So digging the paint. Mike Draco, don't forget Choppertown. How could we? Choppertown is helping us get this thing out everywhere. We appreciate them so much. If you're looking for a way to kill an afternoon with some two-wheel entertainment, go check them out at the Choppertown Facebook page. Paul Schmidt coming in from Bryant, Indiana, and we're 10 seconds now. It's time to get this one up on the racetrack and out of the stable. Go live with this week's installment of Coast to Coast. Here we go.
Hey, everybody. I can't believe it's Tuesday night already. It seems like we were just here. Anyway, welcome to Coast to Coast, a show featuring interesting women in motorcycling and also a couple of guys. Anyway, so let me bring in my co-host, Michael Lichter. Are you there?
I'm here.
You are here. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Yeah, this is our 45th show.
I know, and you
But
keep
who's
bouncing
counting?
back and forth. Here you are in Hawaii with a
Yeah.
little humidity in the air compared to what you had in California, I guess.
I know, I can tell because my barometer, my hair tells me what's happening. Like, okay,
Barometer's
you're back
moving.
here.
Barometer's moving.
It's a
You
little
know,
warmer.
I'll tell you, it's so funny. In the first 34 seconds of the show,
Mm.
it's like a race. We've
Mhm.
got Mike Draco, Derek Webster, William King,
Right.
Rob Nussbaum, and Walter Bednarski all chimed in the first 30 seconds of the show.
I know,
so
it's like a
funny.
race.
It's become like this Tuesday night meeting ground. It's funny.
Yeah,
I
it
love
kind of
how
reminds me of the chase with Bruce Redpath trying to be the first one in every night. You know what I mean? The first guy across the finish line. But hi, guys. Thank you for joining us every week. It's great to see the same people coming back and new people joining. And don't forget to hit that share button and like and all that other kind of social media stuff. But it's great to have everybody here, and this is going to be a really fun show. I
It's going to be
mean,
really fun.
mm-hmm,
Kissa Von Adams is our guest, and I've known Kissa not that long. I think 2015. She was part of the Iron Lilies, and she was a founding member of that back down in Florida. And I shot with them. Boy, I'll tell you, I shot with them in Florida, New Hampshire, South Dakota, kind of all over the place, wherever I'd run into them. So I had lots of pictures. But so she just rides a lot, and she's a badass rider on her custom sporty. And I just thought it'd be neat to see what she does. Just another woman motorcycle chopper enthusiast that has immersed herself. She's not in the industry, but boy, she sure knows everybody. So,
she does, and she gets around almost as much as you, I have to say, even though your schedule, you're starting to fill in, and I hope we can squeeze us in there once in a while. I mean, we have some events coming up, and I know you probably have some that you're going to. Where is your next event? Do you want to?
Well, the Chase is coming up just way too soon. I don't even want to think about it. And then there's a Run to Raton. There's Sturgis, which I have my exhibition this year. So I'm about a month behind in what I need to do in the next 5 weeks. Yeah.
Well, there are only so many hours in the day. The chase is going on without me. Okay, I have to say the world goes on without me, but it's okay because I did it. Let somebody else do it.
We're gonna miss you, but there are only so many hours in the day, so I used them right up until 4 a.m. last night.
Okay, and then you're out gardening, right? You weren't gardening in the dark again, were you?
No, I gardened before dark. Then I went into the studio.
I was like picturing you with a headlamp on, pulling weeds or something the other night. You told me you were gardening.
I've done that.
Right.
All righty.
Cool. But there are some great events. Let's get into some of these events. I mean, I know there was some that already went on this weekend, but there's Lace Grace and Gears. I think it's this coming weekend. We've been talking about this one for a few weeks. And Rogers, Arkansas, Pig Trail, Harley Davidson, Celebration Food Entertainment, Parade of Sisters. The event is a benefit which provides housing for female military veterans. How cool is that? Thank you for doing that. It's a great event. I hope if somebody does these events and they want to tell us about this, you should come on and tell us how it went, or maybe they come on the show. If there's somebody you want to see on our show,
they could even chime in the beginning for a little bit and just tell us as part of pre-show.
That's right. Great. And then Over and Out Moto X, June 25th, 26th, 27th is coming up in Stockton, New Jersey, held on a beautiful private farm. Well, that sounds like fun. And they have a professionally built motocross track, enough for new riders, experienced riders, swimming pool. Sheesh. It looks like a cool event too. These are women only events. So I don't know if there are men, that can come along. Sometimes you can, if you have your significant other, they're not going to, some of them will let you bring them and some of them won't. And then there's a bunch of other stuff going on, but I can't talk about all of them. I know the suffragist ride is coming up. Oh, the Black Girls Ride. Oh, yeah.
And tell us what you have to do with that. Tell us about that.
let's talk about the Black Girls Ride Essence Festival first. Yeah, it's in New Orleans, July 1st through 4th. Female riders are of all levels invited to join. Third annual Ride to Essence Fest, which I don't know much about, but maybe you do. Black Girls Ride will host events to pick up new riders in cities along the way. Oh, how cool is that? Really neat.
That sounds really cool. I'm wondering what Essence Fest is. It sounds like it's an all black thing, but all black girls, but you never know. Maybe friends are invited. I'll tell you, I've wanted to do Black Bike Week for 40 years, but that's always timed with there's Essence Fest. Look at that.
Yeah.
Black Bike Week's always timed to coincide with Sturgis. And I'm
I know.
begging them. I wish they would do two separate things so that you could attend both. I think it hurts both of them. Or do it at the same time and do it in Rapid City. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, there's just only so many. I mean, there used to be there were so few events. Now there's so many events, and it's picking and choosing. Now, one that I'm interested in, the Suffragist Centennial Motorcycle Ride, July 31st from Portland, Oregon to DC.
Yeah, and tell us why you're interested.
Well, because I might be riding on it. I'm thinking
about
it.
Might.
Well, I'm planning. I don't just say, yeah, I'm going. I mean, yeah, I'm going. But,
you're going.
I'm going. Yeah, I'm going to ride from Sturgis. So, because I've got stuff to do in Sturgis. So their schedule comes through Sturgis, Biker Bells. And then I'm going to ride with a couple of friends.
That's better.
And then we're gonna head up and meet them in South Dakota after Sturgis, and then ride into Milwaukee. There's all kinds of cool things happening in Milwaukee for lady riders. There's some kind of event there they're gonna put on, and then we go on, and then I'm going, and then we end up in Knoxville too. There's a 2-day event in Knoxville because apparently Tennessee was the last state to ratify the vote for women. Yay! So we're gonna end up in Knoxville, and then go to DC for a 3-day women's motorcycling conference. So I'm going to do a presentation on the history of women in motorcycling and some of the cannonball and a little bit of the chase. So
now that's sounding much more positive than when you started talking about it.
Yeah, well, I'm going. You know me, I'm going. But I might have to ride a new bike. I'm a little nervous.
Oh, don't be. That's going to be so easy. You're going to be shocked. I rode my friend Jonathan let me ride his bike down in New Mexico up through the twisties. He has a new Softail, and it's awesome. Now, of course, Sean's pestering me. I was like, "Why don't you get a new bike?" And so, I said, "Yeah, my old bike's still fun." He said, "But this is more fun." And it's like, look at that, Wild Gypsies.
Yeah, so Biker Bells, Wild Gypsies. This is going to be a big event in Sturgis for women. I mean, it has been the last few years, but the Wild, Kelly Yazdi's group, the Wild Gypsies are going to end up in Sturgis for Biker Bells, which I'm super excited about. Biker Bells. I think it's the 13th annual. I should know. I was at the first one.
Wow, that's amazing that it's going on that long now.
Yeah, well, it's not amazing. It's awesome. I know. I'm so excited about it because to see something that you helped start to just keep flourishing and it's it's such a great event. You should come and check it out. I know you'll be at your show. Walk over and check out the Biker Bells. And we have
because you're doing something at aren't you at the Buffalo Chip? I think
it's a Biker Bells thing we're going to do. There's going to be a bike show. There's going to be all kinds of events. There's going to be demonstrations of welding, pinstriping, all things for that women are interested in doing more building, and I think that's really cool. To me,
so much going on. It's first off, do you have a date not only for Biker Bells but the thing at the Buffalo Chip?
Well, the Biker Bells is August 10th, and that's the same day they're gonna expand Biker Bells into the whole day instead of just doing the ride where they meet in the morning. Usually it's in Deadwood, and they have they meet and do a ride, and they end up at the Buffalo Chip. This year, I think we're gonna do. They're still planning it, so I really can't say too much about it, but I know it's going to be some really big doings there. So please come and see us at Biker Bells if you're going to be in Sturgis.
That's a Tuesday, I believe. So I'm going to have to stop by for sure. Absolutely. It's kind of exciting is to think where all this is going to go in 10 years. Because,
I don't know.
No, I'm serious. If you think back to the early 2000s, which is, I got to start writing my next blog post. Because I did the 70s, 80s, 90s, and I got to do 2000s. But to me, the 2000s is all about the Discovery Channel years. And, thanks, Chris Callan, putting that up. My Lichter notes.
Yeah.
I have the new one on, I guess the last one was Sturgis in the 90s last week. But anyway, when we get to the 2000s, I'm going to be writing about Discovery Channel because that, I think it was the year of the decade of the builder where they blew up into celebrities. That's where it really happened.
Right.
we didn't really start feeling that until the teens. But I'll tell you, I know a lot of builders that they say, I had a millennial show in Sturgis in 2016, I think.
Yep.
So many of those people started building because of the impact of the Discovery Channel biker build-offs. And so you wonder what's going to happen with women in 10 years. And I'll bet it's going to be huge, explosive.
I think so. I think we're coming on strong. Right? I mean, we have been, since the 80s when I had the Harley Women magazine. Now we're like 20%. I think it's growing stronger and stronger. And I just see all these younger women coming up, and they're so enthused and they're so excited, and they're bringing all this new energy into the motorcycling world. I think we're going to have women bike shows, a bit more builders coming up. That's going to happen. I predict it.
You think a lot of the women that ride today, they were influenced by people like you and the early biker bells. And I mean, seriously, there were so many people that started riding because of what was going on, what you did with the magazine, Harley Women's in the 80s. Yeah, I was just looking at some photos last night at 2 a.m, some old contact sheets. And I was looking for you, but I couldn't find you. There was a ride of a group of women. I think it's 86. And I was wondering if you're on it, but I couldn't see in the pictures.
Was it in Sturgis? In
Sturgis, yeah.
Yeah, you know whose ride that was?
Whose?
It was our ride.
Well, then where were you?
I led the whole thing.
I got to look closer at the pictures. You got to be in there.
I was there. We stopped at that rest area outside of Sturgis.
Yes.
For a photo.
I'm scanning a photo from, actually, we also stopped at a bridge where there was like a little rest at a bridge, and I have a photo I'm scanning of that.
I was in the lead, like 200 women behind me. I'm like, man, I better screw this up.
You left me in the dust. That's what I'm in pictures of you.
I remember you climbed up on top of the semi truck or something. You were like up somewhere. I'm like, there's that guy.
Who is that masked man?
I don't know.
And anyway, then later you said, "Where's Waldo?"
Yeah, where's Waldo? Carrying his camera around somewhere.
All right. Well, is it that time?
We have our segment.
Oh yes, of course.
Let's play our segment.
Let's do that.
Incredible women of motorcycling history. Let's see if we got it queued up. I'm pretty sure we might. Hi there. Welcome to this week's edition of Incredible Women of Motorcycling History. Today I'd like to tell you a little bit about Helen Kiss. Helen Kiss was born in 1920 in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Her father, Frank, was an Indian dealer for many years. She loved the motorcycles, was always hanging around the shop. In fact, on her 16th birthday, lucky little girl, her dad presented her with a 1936 Indian Sports Scout. Always riding Indian motorcycles, she was known for her flashy outfits and her extremely flashy paint jobs. In fact, one of her bikes was pink, and she was known as the Pink Lady from then on. She won an award, the Carol DuPont Paint Award. The DuPont family actually did buy Indian motorcycles during that era. Helen was actually known as being one of the founding members of the Motor Maids. In fact, she was the club's first treasurer of the Motor Maids. She did all kinds of modeling and advertising. She did an ad for Duckworth chains. She was on the cover of the Indian News. She was very, very active in the Motor Maids. She lived a very long life, rode for many years. She passed away at age 94 in 2014. But that's a little bit about Helen Kiss. If you'd like to know more about her, you can check her out in my book, The American Motorcycle Girls, 1900 to 1950. Thank you. What a cool lady, huh? So this is a kissing theme tonight. Did you notice?
Oh my goodness!
I planned that.
How? That's
Helen
fantastic.
Kiss, and
yes,
and we segue right into our wonderful guest, Kissa Von Adams.
That's fantastic.
Right? So there you go.
Awesome. Well, let's bring Kissa on.
Right on. Come on in.
All right.
Hi.
There she is. Hi, Kissa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
And there's Kissa in her element. I love it. Now we should explain to our guests that Kissa is performing tonight. She has a Tuesday night burlesque performance. She does. I presume that's in Orlando. Is that right?
It is in Orlando. Yep, it's in downtown Orlando. It's a speakeasy. The building was built in 1890, so I'm on the 4th floor. There's no air conditioning, but the actual speakeasy bar, we're here every Tuesday and every Saturday nights. And I've been producing the show for 4 years. So,
Wow.
That's awesome. So she not only is performing, but she produces the show. And in this way old building that doesn't have air conditioning, we're thankful that we have some reception to get you coming in. And hopefully you'll be able to stay on the air. Is that one of the outfits that you made, by the way?
This one is the thing that's underneath it I made, but this was just a little cover up that I had to put on because the outfit would have been a little too scandalous to just show up in here for the interview.
So you're telling us that we have to come to your show to see what's underneath it.
Yes, absolutely. That's correct.
Michael. Easy boy.
That's great. I love it. Awesome. Actually, we did see, usually there's a big separation between your motorcycle life and your burlesque life, except that the two came together in Sturgis one year. Isn't that right?
They did. 1 year in Sturgis. I think it was maybe 2018. I think you guys probably have seen the Flaunt Girls or have heard of them. They're kind of like a burlesque, neo fire aerial kind of full show, and they do these choreographed things, to like Motley Crue and that kind of stuff. And I know the girls just kind of through Sturgis, and they were like, hey, do you want to come on and do like a solo act? And so I was like, yeah, of course, because I go to Sturgis every year anyway. So it was kind of surreal being on stage at the Buffalo Chip after having seen so many shows there for so many years and having raced on that track and, partied there until the sun came out. So it was cool to bring that aspect to Sturgis and have people, appreciate what the art of classic burlesque is.
So we're trying to figure out, you had said, Michael, that the burlesque came before the motorcycles.
I believe it was a year, you started burlesque a year before you got into bikes. Is that right?
Yeah, I started burlesque, so it would be 12 years ago, in 2009. And then, about a year or two later is when I got my first bike. So kind of mostly all my adult life, because I'm 30 now. So I started burlesque when I was 18 and got a bike shortly thereafter.
A veteran burlesque dancer at 30. Unbelievable.
Really? I know, isn't it weird?
So many of our guests started okay, let's go to burlesque. We'll talk about the writing after, since you did that first. Why don't you, we have the Wikipedia in front of us, but why don't you tell us in your words, what is burlesque performing all about?
Well, I mean, it started, I think, I don't know what the Wikipedia says, but from what I know, it was like the 1880s in England. And there was this lady, and it was like some so-and-so in the British Blondes, and they had this sort of vaudeville burlesque troupe, and it was sort of like a parody of politics and, the royal family, and it was just it was a lot of things. It had men, it had women. It was kind of different from what we came into, in the 20s, in the Prohibition era, and you saw the real movers and shakers, and then you get into the 30s and 40s and you see more of it showing up in the movies, like Lily St. Cyr and actresses like that. And then you get into the 50s and the era of Betty Page, and there's so many different eras of burlesque. And now with like the more modern burlesque revival, it's burlesque can be anything. You can get up there and be wearing a giant cheeseburger outfit and strip out of that for the sake of comedy.
I love that.
I've seen some.
So your background, your family, you told us earlier, your family is kind of a show business family. You came from a show business background, correct?
Oh, well, let's bring some pictures up to go with this then, because we could go through the first couple of pictures first, just to bring us up to date. So there she is, our little look. There you are, performing at a very young age. Is that right?
And she's looking for snakes, right?
Yeah. So I still have this same chubby cheeks in that photo that I do now, but that was in Iowa. So my dad he grew up on a farm, Irish Catholic, like one of 6 kids, and they have a farm just outside of Iowa City, and they had, I don't even know, thousands of acres, like a full-on real deal farm.
Wow.
And that's where I would spend my summers. And there wasn't motorcycles, but there was ATVs and riding lawnmowers. And as soon as I was probably 6 or 7, I was like, let me take the riding lawnmower for a spin on my own. my grandfather would be like, no, you got to sit on my lap. You can steer. But it was farming equipment before motorcycles.
Right.
But
I
then we
love this
moved
next
from the-
picture. There's your family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
moving from the farm to the stage. Tell us about this.
So that's the other side of my family. That was my dad's family that are from Iowa, but that's actually my great grandfather, and he was a touring jazz and vaudeville musician. He had worked with like Frank Sinatra, the Rat Pack, and he did that his whole life. He passed away, I think, about 3 years ago, and he was from Italy, born in Italy. So I'm part part Italian.
Did he ever perform in
Irish.
Italy? Because that top left picture looks so much like it's in Italy. I'm
sure.
kind of
I'm sure it was. He was there for a while before he came here and met my great grandmother Ruby.
Wow. Very
Oh,
cool.
yeah. I can almost hear him.
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
So this brings us to performance and to burlesque. Now you mentioned Betty Page in there. Now,
Yep.
did she consider herself a burlesque performer? Is that how she identified herself?
I think probably first and foremost, she would have identified most as like a pinup. But I mean, at the time,
that's how I think of her. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, if you were to look up any of her clips of like her doing little videos and stuff, that's quintessential what burlesque is. It's very tease. It's sort of, these outfits, and it's very glamorous. And I mean, to most people, when you say burlesque, the first thing that comes to mind is Betty Page. So
That's a beautiful picture of you. That's not Betty Page, everybody. That's Kissa.
that's
Okay.
me.
Now I don't
Right.
want to bring this into the gutter, but I have to ask. Some people would think of Betty Page as a quote unquote stripper. Now, is that totally false?
I think that definition has evolved over the years. I think that back in the day when things were obviously quite a bit more conservative, you see any woman who is bearing and, even an ankle, they were, that was so salacious back then. And so that was the word that they used. But today I think that word has an entirely different meaning. And is burlesque under the umbrella of stripping? Sure, maybe,
Right.
depending on who you ask. But I think for me, it falls more under the realm of like live theater, live entertainment. I mean, we're performing in theaters. And then for me, it's the costume making too. The costume making is my thing. I love doing that. So
That is amazing. You make those costumes. I just can't believe you make those costumes. That is so awesome. So did you make this one with the feathers? They were looking
did.
at the white one? Wow.
I did.
Beautiful work.
That's actually a really old one. I have better work than that one. That's one of the first ones I ever made, probably about 9 years ago.
Wow. And then we go on to the other pictures, and I guess this is some of the people that are in the troupe. I don't know if you call it a troupe, like dancing troupe, but just gorgeous costumes and lots of feathers and really cool.
Yep. Yeah. So
It's
that's
just-
my show that I'm here, where I'm at right now. I'm on the 4th floor, but the bar is actually on the 2nd floor. And we have a group of 6, and we do shows every Tuesday and Saturday. And for the most part, everybody makes their own costumes too. So I got a pretty stellar group of people, and I really lucked out with how talented and successful our shows are.
Wow, really colorful, I would say. And the next photo is just really cool. I mean, look at looks like you're in a kitchen or a bar or something, but the feathers are just, I don't know, it's just something that and you're so photogenic. You
Yeah.
don't take a bad picture. Yeah.
That is the same bar that I'm performing in right now. That's actually the very corner of the bar. They have a little absinthe bar set up, so that's where they serve absinthe. Very cool. Like the bar is so picturesque. It's done up in this very 1920s sort of way. So it's a true speakeasy. Very cool.
I love that whole vintage kind of era thing that you guys are getting into. It sounds like, really cool. Have you worked with Danielle from American Pickers? Rob wants to know.
I really wish I would have. She does we do a lot of the same shows, it seems like whenever I travel, a lot of people in burlesque that have been doing it for a long time. I'll go to New Orleans, I'll go to New York, I'll go to LA or wherever and Chicago. And we all kind of perform in the same circuit, but I've never been on the same bill as her or the same show at the same time, which is a bummer. And I'd love to meet her.
Sure.
Because
you know what? I know Danielle
really
pretty
cool
well. Maybe
classes.
Get her to watch the show, and I would love for you guys to connect. That would really be fun. She's so into the whole Betty Page kind of, the whole history of it, and that whole vintage thing is so cool. I just love that. Let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about some motorcycle stuff with you. How's that? We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Okay, we'll come right back. See you in a second.
We're ready to race. What's your strategy? Go fast.
The Fueling name has been associated with racing and high-performance engines since 1974, when founder Jim Fueling started fueling the flames. From Daytona to Monaco, from the Bonneville Salt Flats to the Indy 500. Fueling is here to compete. Look for the Flying Pig to run up front this year with pilot Ben Bosman. Fueling. No bullshit, just performance.
Till you come back home.
coolest commercials ever. So I don't know if I can hear you. Are you muted? This is live, folks. Bear with us. I can't hear you. Not hearing you. Anyway, so, Kissa, we should talk to you about your motorcycle stuff. I know you said you taught yourself how to ride when you were 19 years old. Is that true? And your first bike, was it a Sportster?
The first bike I had is the bike I still have. Yeah.
Okay. Is that the one in this picture we have here?
It's been through many forms, but I hear a lot of people say that they're like, I regret ever selling my first bike, and and I'm like, okay, well, I've heard so many people say that. So that was the first bike I bought. It was like dirt cheap. It's a 96 Evo Sportster. It was an 883. And that was a picture like right after I bought it. Yeah.
Yeah, hang on to that. See, I'm one of those people, and I didn't save my first bike. I think I sold my second bike, my third bike. Now I'm like, why didn't I keep one of those? But anyway, that's besides the point. Live and learn. But I'm glad you kept that bike, and it's really cool. And I know you've done some cool rides on it, and I know you were a part of the Iron Lilies. You want to talk about that a little bit? I think you're one of the founders, weren't you?
Yeah, we started it in Orlando, and there was like 4 other girls that I had just randomly met that had Sportsters, and I was like, because I was just doing all these, like, we have a lot of kind of grassroots like camping events here in Florida. We had like Tarball Run and Flirting with Disaster, like cool motorcycle camp out, like really low key, like not big social media stuff at the time. And there was like never any girls there. And, I mean, there were, but they were, significant others are on the back of their dudes' bikes. And I found these girls who had Sportsters, and we all kind of lived around each other. And that was the first iteration from before Iron Lilies really ever even started. It was just like 5 of us with Sportsters who would just hang out because we were tired of hanging out with dudes.
Right, exactly. But you guys were pretty visible. I know you did some stuff for Harley, and you did some advertising stuff, and you're not part of it anymore, but I think they're still going on. Oh, I love this shot. Okay, we need to talk about this more. What's going on in this picture?
Okay, so I obviously, I'm sure everybody knows Willie's Chopper Time. I've been going to that for yes.
Is this Willie some kind of guy's burlesque parties right here? What is this? What do you call this?
Oh, I'll pitch it to them. That'd be a great show at Willie's. We'd raise some money if we did a guys burlesque show.
Oh my God, I'll be there.
Yeah, I'll be in the front row throwing money. So the joke of that was like when I first built my chopper, but obviously I've been going to Willie's for, I don't know, 9 years, like twice a year, because I live an hour from Daytona. But they always come up with the guys, and they win the trophy and everything, and they take pictures with the hot girls. And I was like, well, my bike's never going to win anything. But I was like, what if I pull my bike up into the trophy spot and make the dudes look all topless and hot with me on my bike? And it was like a role reversal. I thought it was funny.
I love it. The trophy dudes.
The trophy dudes.
Yeah, the trophy dudes. Turn the tables on the trophy dudes. That's awesome. And I know that you have a lot of good friends in the industry, and girls that we meet each other. Over the years, and certain people influence you. And I know you have a couple of girls that on this next photo that are, kind of close to your heart, and kind of, there you go.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very, very true. Obviously Betsy is probably like, I don't want to use the word influence, because I mean, people kind of find those things on social media nowadays, but what's so funny, Cris, is when you talked about Harley women earlier, a while ago, years ago, I was at a swap meet in Central Florida, and I found like a box of these old magazines, and this guy was like, do you just want this full box of magazines? Well, it was Harley Women magazine, and it was like, I don't even know from what year it was, and I treasured these magazines, and two of to the first people that I really look up to, obviously Betsy Camp and Goth Girl, and she was in one of the books that I had, and I like would read all the time. And another big one would be Jesse Combs.
Right.
So I would say those three are pretty influential people to me, but I came about them not on social media, but more through just reading books and magazines, and just delving into history, just because I thought it was cool, because there wasn't really I didn't know any people writing really when I started. So
it's nice when you find some, because you feel like there's some camaraderie there, and that's kind of how I feel when I look at the pictures of the older women writing, older than I am. Even I've been writing most of my life, but it's nice to just inspire each other, and I think that's still happening. Women will see another woman writing, and they'll go, "Wow, those sides are up," and if she can do it, I can do it.
Like I can do that.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you with us, Michael? I can't hear you. No, your audio's. Oh, he has so many good questions too.
I know.
I know.
He's known me the longest.
Try it again. Anyway, I know he wanted to ask you some questions, and the whole thing about you've done so many things that people don't. I mean, you're doing your burlesque thing, you have your writing thing, you go to events. I mean, look at these photos. I don't know. I guess this is the same bike that you painted in photo 11. I'm not sure where. Is that
That's
the same
actually
bike?
not the same bike.
No, it's not.
It
looks like a shovel head.
That's actually a 93 Evo Softail that I took to Laconia from Florida. And that was my first time in Laconia. I think it was 2016. And it's real big, heavy bike, super, super heavy bike. And
back?
Oh my God, he's back.
Yes, you're back.
I just logged out and came back on. I have no idea. Sorry about that, guys.
That's a great picture. Is that your picture, Michael? You came right in at the same time as your photo.
That's Michael's picture.
I think that was
one
of my
Michael's
photos.
Picture.
I have a number of questions since I've been silenced all this time.
Oh, my plan didn't work. Darn it. I unplugged his microphone. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, you did it on purpose.
No.
Anyway, I guess that last photo was something I took in New Hampshire. And of course, I got to photograph the Iron Lilies on a number of occasions, on the beach in Daytona. That's in Laconia, in Sturgis.
That's in Laconia.
We just had a really great time. The energy was phenomenal. I know everything has its time and place, and for you, that time is done. You've moved on, but I just want to acknowledge how great that was to even have experienced what you ladies were going through then. I want to back up a little bit further, 5 years earlier, because you mentioned your influences like Jesse Combs and Goth Girl. I did want to ask you, did you ever get to meet Goth?
I did not. Unfortunately, I didn't.
You and she would have been soulmates. I think she was such a wonderful person,
for sure.
And she was a performer at heart, and she was so mysterious and intriguing. You would have really loved her. But what I was wondering about is, you mentioned these three women, but I'm guessing they were more of an influence to you after you started writing, but not before you started writing. And so I was wondering,
not before.
why did you start writing? Like what made you say, I want to get a bike? Or did you know that there was a whole community of women riders? Or did you assume that there were equal numbers of women and men riding?
Well, for my own personal sphere, I didn't know anyone that was women who was riding at the time. I had a boyfriend at the time who was a Harley mechanic. He had a few bikes. He worked on bikes. He built bikes. And I was like, anybody who knows me or my personality knows I'm going to do whatever I want to do myself. I'm not going to be riding on the back of somebody else's bike. So immediately I was like, nope, I'm going to get my own bike. I taught myself how to ride it. I was like, that was kind of how it all began. But when I did that, and, it was a while before I ever met any other women that rode. But in that time frame, we'd always go to we have these really cool swap meets here, and you'd find all these old parts, and there's so many actually things that I found at the swap meet on that motorcycle today. But I would find these old Harley women magazines and all these books, and that was before I even knew any girls that rode, and going through, reading through their stories and looking at the photos, it was like the photos and the story of Goth Girl really spoke to me. And it wasn't until a couple years later that I met Betsy and I met Jessie, who were, more current people who are still out there doing the damn thing. So
yeah, some pretty good influences there.
Do you have any, at the beginning of the show, Cris goes over all these women only events or women focused events. Do you have any desire to participate in any of those? I know you keep a very busy schedule between performing, and something that we haven't even touched on is that your partner in life is a performer as well, and you have a travel schedule surrounding what he does as well. Is there a desire to participate in any of that stuff?
I wouldn't say that there's not a desire. I just think it's never really fit in with my schedule. Obviously I like to do the big events every year, the Sturgis, the Daytona Bike Week, Biketoberfest. I mean, they're just, Babes Ride Out is all the way in California. So for me to even get that time out of work to drive my truck out there with my motorcycle, it's just like never really been in the cards. But if they had something closer to Florida, I'd definitely be cool and into it.
They have Babes Ride Out East now. They just had it. It's up in the East Coast.
Yeah, where is it at?
For you. Yeah, that would be fun for you. But tell us, I want to hear about how you got into racing, because here's your girl riding her Sportster around and doing some cool stuff, and then you decide, oh, I did that. Okay, now I'm going to try to do hooligan racing. It's just like, that blows my mind that you just like jump right in there like that.
This next photo, number 119.
Where'd that come from?
Well, I kind of just jump into things very frequently. That's kind of my life motto, is like, if you're going to do it, just go for it. I actually got one of my good friends, his name is Chris Tice. He was working for Indian as an announcer. Then he was working with Harley for a little bit, and he was the announcer of Flat Out Friday for 1 year. It was like 2017, I think. And this dealership was
as well, right?
What is it?
Isn't Cris a stunter as well as an announcer?
He is. Yeah. Yep. He is. Yep. He's a stunter too. And he's always been a good friend of mine. His girlfriend, Emily, is a friend of mine. She's a rally bartender. They're both good people. He was like, hey, we have this dealership. It was at the time Hal's Harley Davidson in Hales Corners, Wisconsin. And then now the name is actually Irontown Harley Davidson now, but they we're building this Sportster for Flat Out Friday, and we want to have a girl race it. And I was like, hell yeah, let's go. I mean,
is that you on number 119 there? Look at your arms. You're into it, man. You're
that's me.
Awesome.
Oh, you know who that is?
What's really badass here is seeing you in your burlesque outfit next to the shot of you racing. I mean, that is like,
yeah,
it's the combination is absolutely badass.
Yeah.
That race was awesome because I got some bragging rights and beat a couple people that didn't think they were going to beat me. And I was pretty stoked after that one. So
awesome.
That was
the same year, 2017.
Did any of this have to do with Brad Gregory? And I know in shot 14 that's you and Brad together. That's a year before you raced, but you were on the hooligan track. And my recollection is that you rode his bike with him on the back.
No, I didn't ride it with him on the back. I rode
that's in my mind.
No, I've actually never done that, but I'm sure Brad probably would do that.
Oh yeah, that would be
that's his.
Brad would do it. Yeah.
Actually, I take that back. I have ridden a bike with Brad on the back in Sturgis of 2016 at like 4 a.m, and the cops stopped us and they're like, "What are you guys doing?" And I was like, "Oh, we're just riding back to our Airbnb," and they're like, they wanted to take a photo with me and him.
Michael knows everything that goes on. Okay, you can't get anything past him.
I knew it. Nothing happens in Sturgis without me knowing it.
Really?
That was after dark. It was late at night one night.
That's great.
There you go. So yeah, there's so many great pictures of you. So what would you be doing if you weren't doing what you're doing? I keep thinking about that. What would you be doing if you weren't? doing this?
Burlesque.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm also a bartender. I've been a bartender for 12
Mhm.
years, so I also do that. But I kind of actually during COVID, when everything shut down and I lost my job as a bar manager, and obviously we couldn't have shows. I was really thinking like, what would I go to school for if I had to go to school for something? And I've always really loved, and this is going to sound really strange, but being like a homicide investigator.
Oh my God, that's
Wow.
awesome. I love this about the
So
COVID thing, because people are home like, okay, I have to reinvent myself. What would I want to
Yeah.
do? I think that's cool. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just met a
So,
girl,
I,
a young woman who went into investigation. She's getting a job for the police as an investigator.
I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
It's like it's
And
in
she's
my,
in
like,
Orlando.
It's in my
She's in
2 or 3 year
Orlando
plan.
also.
That's
No,
cool.
she's not. Really?
Yeah, and she got to do something that was really cool. She got to ride around with a woman investigator to see what it was like, and she fell in love with it. And this woman took her on as sort of mentoring her, and she's getting hired by the police down there.
Kiss is like, what?
You have
Okay,
to
I'll have
job.
to
That's
go.
my
I'll
idea.
connect you.
I want
I'll
to
have to
meet
connect you.
her.
She was at the
Absolutely.
Tennessee Motorcycles and Motorcycles and
Oh,
Music
okay.
Revival.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
really
Cool.
bummed I couldn't go to that this year, but I went. I think 2 or 3 years ago, like the first year they did it, I went to it. So that was fun. It was a good time.
Wow. But there's something else that the two of you have in common, and that's that you both have partners that are rock stars.
Hmm.
Oh, me and
What about
Cris.
Oh, yeah. Kiss and I, yeah.
Yes.
What do you mean? I'm
Yeah,
not a dancer,
yes.
but my mom used to do a little.
Well, I'm not saying that you're a
My mom
dancer.
dabbled.
There-
My mom
yeah,
dabbled.
There was a little performance in your
Yes.
background, but in terms of your partners
Yes.
being performers, there you
Yes.
go. Now, I will
And-
say
Oh, there
that
he
Jim
is.
gets a little more done up than Pat. What do you think, Cris?
I have a picture of Pat one time. We were on tour with Alice Cooper in England, and it was Halloween. And I had to dig up the photo. And Pat dressed like Alice. He did a whole white face thing with the black around the eyes and the whole, kind of like that. And it was really cool.
Very similar.
Find the
So,
picture.
how about for our listeners that do not
Mhm.
know what this is all about? Why don't you tell everyone about Jim and what he does?
Okay, so Jim is a guitar player and one of the main songwriters for Slipknot. We actually met because of Michael Lichter.
Yay!
on one
Cool.
of
Another matchup.
on one of his rides. We were on the beach and Jim was with Bill Dodge and I was with some of the other girls from the riding group, and he was like, we're going to go on this ride on the beach. And I think the photos, I believe, ended up in the 75th Daytona edition because it was the year 75th Daytona rally. And it was in Easy Riders. And it wasn't until when we met on this ride, I was just like, oh, is this really tall, awkward guy on this cool shovel head, which is the bike's actually called Super Bad. Bill Dodge built it. It's a shovel head. But I was just like, oh, cool. We were just on, how you go on Michael rides, you stop at a little bar and grill on the beach. And, we were just chatting, and I didn't even know who he was because anybody who knows me knows I listen to only country music. So I was like, oh, I just made a friend that day. and it wasn't until a couple of years later that we kind of were acquaintances and would see each other at bike rallies and stuff. And that when we first started dating, he was like, the first time I saw you on that Michael Lichter ride on the beach in Daytona, he was like, I was enamored and I completely fell in love with you on the first time I ever saw you. And I was like, stop, that's not true.
I think you commented that a lot of my photographs, you could see Jim in the background staring at you.
You could, if you go and look at the photos from that ride, it's like all of the photos are Jim staring at me or me staring at Jim.
Oh, I love the good motorcycle romance and the matchmaker.
Yeah, you know what? Fighter pilots get their wings for how many planes they shot down, right? I think I need, I don't know, maybe a pair of lips or something, and for how many relationships I got started at my
Okay.
rides. I'm telling no, there's a lot of them. You
We're
can't
going to have to
imagine.
start keeping score. We'll make a list and we'll talk about it with our events next week.
Yeah.
So someone asked what question is what will Kissa be doing next? I guess you're going to be on tour, right? This summer, or are you guys going out?
Yeah,
on tour?
they're good. They're going out starting September. So I kind of usually I bounce back between going on tour and then running my shows here in Florida. So
Okay.
there's a couple big shows they're doing, a couple of the big rock fests. Like there's one in Ohio. They're doing the Knot Fest in Des Moines, which is a huge show. If you're in the area, come say hi, come check it out. So I'll be.
Well, I'm going to look at our
they
schedule
have
because I want to see if we can cross.
Come on
we can
out.
cross paths.
Yes.
Be like,
Yes,
okay, you come to the Doobie
absolutely.
Brothers, and I'll go to Slipknot.
And when you come to Denver, we'll have to connect. All right.
Totally.
Yes.
We'll have to do that. That sounds
my
great.
parents are going to be really. My parents will be really jealous that I'm going to the Doobie Brothers for sure.
Well, at least you didn't say your grandparents.
No, parents. Just parents. Just parents.
You know, we got
Yeah,
a
there's
question
the bike.
from
That's super bad.
we have Keith Cronoff chimed in, and he wants to know if you pack a bedroll and tent on the back of your bike, or do you hotel it?
Well, why? Well, where?
If you're
Depends on
riding,
where.
he says, if you're
something
riding
in
cross
Florida
country.
If I'm riding cross country, I've only done it once, and I think they took all of our, like, somebody had my suitcase, and then that was actually for Harley, so they put us up in a hotel in New Hampshire.
Oh, that's
but
nice.
so I didn't even have anywhere to strap anything on that Evo Softail I was riding.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, when we do the stuff in Florida, there's a couple rides that are like, you know, going to the Keys is about 8 hours from where I live. And if you go up to the Panhandle, it's about 6 or 7 hours, which on a rigid chopper is not that fun. But I can do it. But I'll strap like my tent and my sleeping bag if it's like something kind of like we've done Georgia or Florida, or even like Smoke Out, like those things that are like not taking 5 days to go somewhere, then
yeah, where it's appropriate.
Yes.
Jonathan Pite wants to know if you've ever ridden vintage bikes, but your Sportster, what year is your Sportster?
It's a 96. So yeah, I've ridden a ton of shovel heads, ton of fan heads. I will say that the next bike I'm gonna buy or get built rather would, and maybe some of you guys know Bobby the Leg. He's one of my very, very good friends, a very, very talented motorcycle builder, but he considers himself in chopper retirement now. And I told him, and he said he would come out of chopper retirement to build me the bike that I want when I end up, you know,
so what
being
bike
like,
do you want?
It's time.
What do you want?
Well, I got a few on the wish list. And this is actually a bike that Bobby has too, but I'm sure you guys know the 81 Sturgis edition.
Of
I
course.
would love to
I bought one brand new.
I remember when they came out.
The one that got away. Remember we talked about our first bikes? That was
rear rubber belt.
Oh man.
That was in its day, that was really like a custom bike almost, you know?
It was an awesome bike.
One.
And I shouldn't have sold that
One
one.
of
one
of Willie's great successes, wasn't it?
I bought that bike in July.
Oh, I want
and then we rode it to Sturgis, and we heard Willie G. I'm from Chicago, so I rode out from Chicago to Sturgis, and we heard that Willie G was riding that year on the same bike. We kept he was ahead of us like a day. You know, Willie was here, and we were riding the Sturgis. It was such a cool bike. I love that bike.
Oh,
yep.
I've only come across like
bikes?
a few of them. Yeah, but I want it stock. Like I'm trying to find it stock. Like I've seen one here in Florida. I've seen one, and I don't know if y'all know about Florida, but stuff gets real rusty if you live near the coast.
Right.
So I found one. It was actually at the Broken Spoke this past bike week. This guy had one for sale, but it wasn't stock. He had changed a bunch of stuff on it, and it was like it definitely has like been living in Florida in the salt air. So I was like,
right. Yeah. I actually took mine down to Daytona one year and I rode on the beach and I remember coming back and hosing it off. And the only thing that was changing color was the aluminum on the clutch and the brake were both like getting little, from the salt. I just hosed because that's the great thing about that bike. You don't have to polish anything. It's black. You just hose it off and go,
Yeah.
I like that bike, but that one did not have a stock air cleaner on it. I remember what that air cleaner looked like. Yeah. Cool bike. I want to see you get that.
Very jealous. I've been hunting. If somebody out there has one, let me know.
Ooh, I saw one at the
That they're
American
willing to
auction a
part
couple
with.
of years ago. Yeah.
It's funny because Cris and I basically kind of grew up with these bikes, but very soon they're going to be antiques. 50 years qualifies. Is that what it is? For that? Is the AMA 50 years?
No.
Does anybody know the answer to that? I'm sure Rob Nussbaum could chime in on it. But I thought it was 50 years because that 81 will be an antique in 10. Or my 71 Shovelhead that is my original bike that I still have is an antique this friggin' year. Oh my God, I could join the AMCA.
Yep. Oh my God, I just remembered a quick story about my 81 Sturgis. So I'm on a ride with a bunch of women because that's what I used to ride with, the women called Women in the Wind. And we were out on a ride from, I think, Chicago to, I think, somewhere in Michigan. And there was about 13 of us. And my pulley went out on my belt, my primary. And it was a Sunday and we found a Harley shop and somebody called up the owner and he came and opened up for us and let me use his tools. And he was amazed that we could fix, it was a couple of us. Like I knew how to fix the pulley. Somebody else adjusted the clutch for me and we got the bike running and I made it home. That was the story about the 81 Sturgis.
Rob Nussbaum is putting a little warning in that he said with the 81 belt front and rear, hard to get parts. I don't know if that was a warning from him. And he also wrote that I'm totally mistaken. He wrote, or Steve Broyles wrote, or a few people wrote that it's 25 years, not 50. So I guess I could have applied 25 years ago to the AMC. Didn't know. It seems like it should be 50, but whatever.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
Well, my birthday's this week. Guess how old I'm going to be? Think of the Beatles song.
What?
Will you still need me?
Oh,
will you still feed me?
Yes, of course we will.
Will you still buy me a tank of gas?
That's great.
Anyway, well, thank you, Kissa. This has been so fun, to get to know you, and I hope our paths cross sometime.
Sturgis
for sure.
Sturgis.
Definitely
Sturgis
see it. You better come to Biker Bells. Okay.
I need to pencil that in.
Yep, you do. It's on August 10th, Tuesday, right? I think it was August 10th.
Yes, Tuesday, August 10th.
Is it?
Yep.
Is it the same time as the Cycle Store show?
Uh-oh.
No.
Chris Callan?
Different day?
Chris Callan?
Chris?
Chime in here.
Uh-oh. We went for lunch.
You went for lunch.
I'm not sure when the Cycle Source show is.
I don't know.
I should know those things.
Here he comes.
Our show's on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Sunday.
Your show's on Sunday.
Yep, Sunday.
Sunday.
All
Yes.
right.
Awesome.
Very cool. So you'll have to make that. Is I presume Jim is up there playing but not playing music?
Jim will not be there playing music. No, he will be bringing his bikes. He's going to be coming straight from LA to Sturgis, and I'm going to come from Florida. So, yeah.
Cool.
The meeting place. Sturgis is the meeting place.
It sure is for
Sturgis
everybody.
That's where I met my
meeting
husband
place.
on the road. That's right.
That's where we first started dating. So
That's
there
right.
you go.
So where can we
Sturgis is
find
for
you on?
lovers.
Do you have Instagram? Do you have Facebook? Where can people find you and follow you?
Yeah, Instagram and Facebook. It's both under they're both just under my name at Kissa Von Adams. Adams is with 2 D's. So yeah, send me a friend request, shoot me a follow. If you have an 81 Sturgis for sale, let me know about that too.
I'll find you one.
Check and see if anyone chimed in. I know there's a lot of commenting going on.
Oh yeah, they're out there.
Yeah, you have to listen to the show and playback so you could answer some of your fans here as well.
I can't see it from where I'm at. The screen is so tiny and I don't have my glasses on, but I'll have to go back and look through it.
We'll
There
find
you
you a
go.
bike. Well, I look forward to seeing you in Sturgis.
Absolutely. And
I'm so
Kissa, when you're in
excited.
Denver, don't forget, I hope you come visit. We get
Yep.
together.
Yeah, do you want to come hang out at the metal show?
I think I have to experience it.
an amen?
All right.
Amen. Awesome. All right.
All
Well,
right,
thank you.
then.
We'll see
I
you
love
soon.
it.
Take care. Thanks for coming
Thanks
on.
so much
All
for
right.
coming on, Kissa.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
It
Awesome.
was she's awesome. I she just, what a great person. I just love her. She's
I'll tell you,
inspiring.
she's fun to
Mhm.
photograph because she is so badass when she's riding her custom bike down the highway.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of shots of her. Actually, if you search Kissa on my website, over 300 photos come up. So,
Wow.
and you could narrow it down. You could write Kissa riding or whatever. But
Mhm.
I have her racing. I have her riding because I just photographed so much through the Iron Lilies for different purposes.
Sure.
We actually did some
Years.
advertising with them for different things.
Right.
Anyway,
Wow.
a
Great
lot of
show.
fun,
I'm sorry.
huh?
I'm sorry you had a little technical difficulty, but you figured it out and you joined us again.
Yeah, well, like everything electronic, just quit it and
Yeah.
start it over again, right? Look at all those
Yep.
photos. Isn't she
Wow.
badass? Look at that.
She is. She is. She's super
It's
cool.
really cool.
And she's only 30. Oh my
And she's
gosh.
only 30. Yeah.
It's like I think about these people. Where are they going to be 20
Oh, see,
years
there
from
she is
now
at the
when they're-
Buffalo Chip, right?
It's so cool.
On the stage.
Yeah. Wow.
And she makes her own costumes. It's unbelievable.
I know. Talented girl.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I want to thank our sponsors who we have tonight. We had Metzler, we had Fueling, Torque.
And Torque, yep.
Yep. I'm not sure who's going to be on the shows this week.
Yeah, they didn't give us much
But-
warning on that, except for Sunday. I know that one of my favorites, Warren Lane, is going to be
Right.
on Sunday night. For any of you that don't know Warren, my
Mhm.
goodness, he's one of the. He really, one of his bikes is my favorite bikes of all time. He's a builder that can fit more into a little bike that you just go, how does he make it work? So check
Yeah.
out his show on Sunday on Shop Talk with Chris Callan.
Check that out.
Don't
That's
miss
talent.
it. Absolutely.
And then tomorrow night's a Cannonball Chronicles. I'm not sure who's on, but it's always somebody interesting, always fun to see what these guys are up to.
Let's see if Rob is going to tell us here.
Rob didn't tell me, but
Well,
usually
maybe
I talk
he
to
may
Rob. I didn't
chime-
talk to him
He may
today.
chime in here pretty quick. We do have a few comments. Let's see. There was a little confusion earlier when you said the barometer reading and you went like this, right?
The humidity.
I know, but David Crum thought you said the barometer.
No,
Whatever that means. Okay.
He's got burlesque on his mind.
That's
Okay?
it. It must be that. And then I have a number of comments about getting my wings. So Brian Pelletier suggested that he could get me some Cupid wings. So wouldn't that look cool?
There you go. You could just spread the
And
love
I'm going to
around.
have to put names on them, right? That'd be pretty cool. And Steve Broyle's coming. There's a Knot Fest in Detroit. I wonder what that is. That sure
didn't
sounds
know.
interesting, doesn't it?
Very cool. Yeah. Oh, Warren Lane restores airplanes too. I thought that. I heard that
Yes,
before.
he's
And then,
very much into old airplanes.
Cannonball Show is Bartek.
Oh, Bartek from Poland.
Mhm,
He's got a
mhm.
great story because he brought his whole Polish motorcycle in parts, in luggage, secretly out of communist Poland at the time.
Right, because they wouldn't let him ship the bike. So he took it apart and put it in his suitcase and boxes and shipped it. And then we got there and then he put it together. I don't know how he got it home. Maybe he left it in the States. I'm not sure.
I'd say, and I think he left it in the States at that point.
I would.
Anyway, yeah. Well, cool. This was fun, huh?
Yeah, that was a fun show. Really fun. They're all
Fun
fun. I don't know who we're gonna have next. Who we have next week?
I gotta look. Oh my God, you got me off.
I stumped you. I love it.
You did. You stumped me. I gotta look it up. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I have too much going on in my head right now.
I can look it up.
You could look it up probably faster than me. Here it comes.
Bradley Kleiner. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, Natalie. Okay. I'm sorry. That's because I haven't gotten her photos yet. So
That's okay.
Natalie is a designer and she used to be with helmet companies and all different stuff. And now she's got her own brand going and she designs for other people. And she's very active in the motorcycle and the women's motorcycle community. So she should be a great guest. We just saw her in Nashville recently.
Cool. Well, all these women doing all these fun things. I love it.
Yeah,
It's great. We get to share their stories with everybody. So,
and you get to
Anyway.
more than share them. You get to go riding from Sturgis all the way to the East Coast.
yeah,
Aren't you lucky?
I know, and I don't have to kickstart it. Even though I like Buddy too. And yes, Rob, Buddy did get started. over in California. Buddy's my 34 VL. Actually, it's a VD, but I don't want to tell people I have VD. So
There you go.
anyway.
Oh, and Cris has chimed in that Natalie's brand is De Haven, and
Okay.
that's her with Aaron. And
Mhm.
anyway, it's cool stuff. We'll learn all about
Awesome.
what they're doing next week.
Great. Well, have a good week, everybody. And thank you again, Cyclosource Media. Yes. Heather, hope your finger's doing better. And Cris, thank you. Thank our sponsors. Thank you, Michael, as usual.
And
all
you
your
too,
help.
Cris.
Yep.
Wonderful. It's fun working with you on this.
Yep. Lots of fun.
We'll see
Okay. We'll
everybody
see.
next week.
We'll see you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.